So what's going on guys, Case here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best MP7 outer space build in once human. So in this quick build guide, we will look into the best weapons and gear set that you wanna get. Then I will explain every single mod and show you the best Cradle upgrades and deviants to use. And then lastly, we will take a closer look at the gameplay, so you would know the reason behind every single build choice and what exactly will give us insane damage and much more. So, if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So then moving over to our setup, which is the outer space build. And unlike other builds that utilize set pieces and refilling ammo, for this one we will specifically focus only on the highest damage possible by using one of the best gear sets and stacking as many damage increase buffs as possible. So with our build, we will be doing insane damage for both our main and second weapon, and we will switch them depending on who we are fighting. So then let's start with the weapons, and for the first one we are going to be using the MP7 outer space. We will have to use this weapon no further than in 23 meter range, or if the enemy is further than that, then our damage will start to drop off. So then in that case we will have to switch to our sniper rifle. And for the mod, I've picked the Surge Amplifier Talons, whose core effect is that dealing power surge damage will give us plus 5% damage increase for 3 seconds, and it can stack up to 4 times. So after our first 4 shots, we will always have 20% damage buff. Then for the second weapon, we have the best sniper in the game, aka the AWS 338 Bingo Sniper Rifle, with the Recover Mark mod, and 4 accessories. For the muzzle, which we are using the large break. Then for the optic, we have the large optic sight. Then for the magazine, we have the tactical SR mag. And lastly for ammo, we are using the tungsten SR ammo. As most of you know, this is the easiest and best sniper in the game by far. And because we will be constantly moving while shooting, so from dead targeted enemies, we will receive 50% HP recovery and 25% stamina. For this build to work, you don't have to use a sniper as a secondary gun. Some people prefer pistols, others to have a crossbow. But if you're looking for the best 2 highest DPS guns, then the MP7 and Bingo Sniper is definitely the best combo. So use your MP7 for close to mid range, and then the sniper for long ranges / boss fights, where you can get easy crits and target the enemy's weak point, and it's that simple. And then lastly for our melee weapon, we will be carrying the Frozen Northern Pike, which is yet again the best melee weapon in the 3rd slot. This build is very OP, because we've chosen only the best of the best items in the game. And then for the mod, we have the Frosty Blessing, which will restore 10% of our HP. So guys, as you can see, this build is overall insane, because we will stack a bunch of damage buffs, and I've gotten multiple times more than 1.5 million DPS in boss fights. So I definitely recommend to try this setup out. Then next up we have the gear set, and we will be using the Savior gloves with the status enhancement talents, which will increase our status damage by 20%. Then the Mayfly goggles with the Deviation Expert talents, which will reduce our range by 25%, but now instead we get 10% fire rate and 20% status damage increase. Then the Savior mask with the Thunderclap talents, which after triggering a power surge 20 times, with the next attack will summon a Celestial Thunder, which will do 200% shock damage. Then next up we have the Shelter Pants, with the Bullet Siphon Precision mod, which will increase our weapon's damage by 5%, and every 5 bullets we use, it will give us 4% damage, and this effect can stack up to 5 times. Then we have the Shelter Shoes, with the Slow and Steady talent mod, which will increase our damage by 10%. And when our HP is above 90%, we will receive additional 10%. And finally for the jacket, we are using the Shelter Top with the Head on Conflict talent mod, which when enemies are close to us in 7 meter range, will give us 10% damage reduction. And if the enemy hits us with a melee, we will get additional 10% damage reduction for the next 5 seconds. So guys, as you can see, almost every single one of our gear pieces will give us 10 or even 20% damage increase, and when you count it 4 or 5 times, these damage buffs will become insane, and this is one of the biggest reasons of why we can double or even triple our damage. The most important thing to keep in mind is to be always close to enemies, and with full HP if possible, and this will give us stacks upon stacks of buffs. Then one more massive thing we need to use specifically are the Cradle upgrades. And on the right side you can see all of them that I use. But the most important one is the tactical combo, that increases our weapon's damage by 25% for the next 4 seconds after we switch or reload a weapon. Then the agility, which after rolling our character will give us 15% damage reduction for 4 seconds. Then Bounty Hunter, which after we kill an unmarked enemy, our weapon's damage increases by 25%, which will last for very long 15 seconds. And lastly, we get the Master Tacticianer, which after using a tactical item will give us damage against bosses by 25% for the next 15 seconds. So that's why in the beginning of the fight you can see players throwing a grenade and then switching to a weapon. And this will give us the tactical item buff plus the 25 damage increase after you switch to a weapon. So overall, again, on top of everything, we get even more buffs. Then now let's take a look at the best deviant. And there are many choices, so this is more of a personal preference. I really like the Polar Jelly, because he complements our build very well by continuously dealing frost damage to surrounding enemies, while also increasing our damage, and if the frost vortex is formed, then it will also ice spike the enemy targets. And finally, for the food of choice, it is again up to each player. I really like the canned lunch meat, because it is super easy to make, and it will boost our max HP by 10%. But of course, if you want to maximize everything to the brim, then you can go with a damage increasing food, or anything else, depending on what you're specifically fighting. So in a quick summary, if you want to use the highest damage medium to long range build, that is made for every single situation, no matter for what PvE or PvP, and if you want to use only the best of the best items, then this is definitely the most optimized build for you. And with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or suggestions, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and not miss any more amazing content. With that said, you have an amazing day and I will see you in the next one, so take it easy, peace.